Permutations. Definition. Permutation is an ordered arrangement of items that occurs when new items is used more than once. The order of arrangements makes a difference. So here's the key item here. No item is used more than once, and the order makes a difference. So that's permutation. And for that permutation, we have the formula N PR. So that's the formula there. And we can see that in the next slide. So what we're looking for here, it's the arrangement, the ordered arrangement. So we can use the factorial to represent those arrangements. So let's look at our example here. So our first example, you need to arrange 7 of your favorite books along a small shelf. So there are 7 of them. How many different ways can you arrange the books, assuming that the order of the books makes a difference? So you're not going to repeat the same book when you arrange the 7 different books. So looking at this, you will say, think about the formula M times N. So here we're multiplying because the first choice would be 7. We still have 7 books, right? On the second arrangement, since you already put 1 on the first one, so you will be left with 6. And it continues on the third arrangement. You have 2 already placed, so you will have 5 choices here. And then 4, 3, 2, 1. So that would be the solution. So looking at how many books you're looking at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that actually your number of ways. So multiplying that, it gives you 5,040 ways. Now you can also use factorial notation. So factorial notation has this apostrophe. You go 7 factorial, and that means the same thing. It's multiplying from 7, and it goes down in descending order, times 6, times 5, times 4, times 3, times 2, and times 1. So when you're going to use your calculator, if you're using TI-83 or TI-84, you go press 7 and then press the math button and then move the right arrow key to the last column, which is PRB. PRB means probability. And then you go down to number 4 and press enter. And you have the 7 factorial there. And enter again, you will have the answer. So the answer would be the same, 5,040 ways. Okay, so it's just the same, 7 factorial, or you do 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 and times 1. So here's the factorial notation. So that's what we said a while ago. The notation is similar to that, and it means something like this. Okay, so We have the notation in factorial. So we have 7 a while ago. So our n would be 7 in this case. And then you just multiply the number in descending order. So, but if you have 0 factorial, that means that is equal to 1. You can try that in your calculator also. It gives you a 1. Okay, so let's practice evaluating using our calculator. So let's say you have 7 factorial divided by 4 factorial. Okay, so using your calculator, you press 7 and then hit math button. Go to the last column to the right and then select 4. That would be the factorial um, symbol. Okay, divided by, you hit the division button, then press 4 and then press math button again and then go to the last row by using the arrow key and go down number 4. That would be the factorial. So you will have 7 factorial divided by 4 factorial and hit equal sign. Then you'll get 210. Now, doing this in another way, you can do the normal factorial by doing the descending order 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And do the same thing at the bottom. You go 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. In this case, you can cancel this part here. Okay, so that would be a 1. And then you just multiply 7 times 6 times 5. So 7 times 6, that's 42 times 5. It will give you the same answer, 210. So if you don't have the factorial notation function in your calculator, you can do this like this. So it will give you the same result. Okay, so the formula, the one that we mentioned a while ago, you have actually the NPR. So it says the number of possible permutation of R items are taken from the N items. So this is the total one. So you have N items here, factorial, that's the formula. And you subtract N minus R factorial. So that's the formula. But think about again that this one is given in your as a function in your calculator. So you can just use that function. And that is under math button. And then you move to the right 3 times and you will reach the last column, PRB, that's probability. And you pick the second option, which is the permutation function. Okay, so let's have an example. Using the formula for permutation, you and 19 of your friends. So when you say you and 19, total of 20 here. And that will serve as your end. Have decided to form a business. The group needs to choose 3 officers. So we have 3 here, and that would be our R is equal to 3. A CEO, the operating manager, and the treasurer. In how many ways can those offices be filled? So remember, you have a specific position. So you have a different order here. So you have to use permutation. So the other one is combination. You don't care about the order for combination. So permutation, you need to have an order here because they have different positions. Okay, so using the formula and PR, so you'll just plug in 20 and then your R is 3 and you'll get the answer. So again, how to access that is you press the math button and use the arrow key to the right and pick the last column, which is PRB. That's probability, and choose the second one, which is the uh, permutation. Okay, so since we have 20, let's plug in 20 first as our end, and then hit math, and then move to the right, go to PRB, and go down. That's the second one. Press enter, and then press 3, and hit enter again. It will give you 6,840 ways. And that's the answer. Again, 6,840 ways. If you're going to do it in another way, using the formula, it says n factorial over n minus r factorial. We plug in our n is 20 factorial over n here is 20 minus our r is 3 factorial. So it gives us 17 factorial, right? At the bottom. On the top, you have 20 and break this down in descending order. 19, 18, and then we reach 17 here. We'll just leave that as a factorial so we can cancel that out. So this cancels out, and then multiplying 20 times 19 times 18, it gives you 6,840 ways still. So it's just the same answer. Okay. So do not forget that you have to use a TI-83 or 84 to have that function of the permutation formula. And by pressing that function, you can solve right away and get the answer. So for that, that is 6,840 ways. And that's how you find the permutation of this problem. Again, there are two that you have to remember here. Permutation, you have an ordered uh, thing here. So it means that uh, there's no repetition. And then the other one is combination that you need to actually see that there's no order given. Okay, last example. Now the last example here, you have uh, repetitions or duplicates of the letter for Mississippi. So there will be permutation of duplicate items. So here's the definition. So permutation of duplicate items. The number of permutation of n items where p items are identical, q items are identical, r items are identical, and so on. It's given by. So here's the formula. N factorial over p factorial, q factorial, and r factorial. And it continues if you still have more. So this three dots means it continues. Okay, so let's take the example here again. So in how many distinct ways can the letters of the word Mississippi be arranged? So try to count how many that we have here. Let's have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 letters here. So our n, our n here would be 11. Okay, and from the formula, we have the formula here n factorial over the repeated items, which is p uh, factorial, q factorial, and r factorial. Our p here would be, let's assume we have the I there. So let's count how many i's we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that goes to p is equal to 4. And then we will have a q, and q would be the s here. So let's have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 s here, so that would be 4. And then we have also t that has 2, so let's duplicate. M doesn't have anything, so we will not include M because there's no duplicates for that one. The formula is used only for duplicates. So R actually it's the P here. So we have only 1, 2. So that would be 2 for your R. So try to plug in the values. N factorial, that means 11 factorial over P, which is 4 factorial. Q is 4 factorial, and then 2 factorial, and then evaluate, and that would be the number of ways. So let's press 11, 1, 1, then math, go to the right, PRB, and then number 4, the factorial button, and then division button, divide, and then you have to put this in parentheses at the bottom in your calculator, so it will not be mixed up. So if you don't put the grouping symbol, then you have a different answer. So we have to put that grouping symbol. So open parenthesis and then 4 factorial, that's math button. Go to the right and select the last column, PRB, and number 4. Do the same thing. And do the same thing for the other 4 there. Okay, that's still 4 factorial. And then hit 2, and then math, and PRB, select 4. That's actually the symbol factorial. And close it, and then hit enter. The answer is 34,650 ways. So if you have actually duplicate uh, items, so we have here for permutation. So in this word Mississippi, there are 34,650 ways. Okay, so that's permutation.